What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, I have a guest with me today. I would like to introduce from Flux, Daniel Keller. What's going on, Daniel?
Hey man, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, guys, I invited Daniel on today to talk pretty much about crypto mining and the current state of it and where we are and how do we get to the yellow brick road at the end here as to, from where we are and to a point of profitability again, and maybe some more, we'll call it stability, because right now it's the Wild West and things have been pretty nutty. So from your perspective and the Flux team's perspective, the Ethereum Merge hit and kind of what did you guys see? What did you guys experience?
Well, our experience was a good one. I mean, we had 4.5 years to get ready for it, so it was a fairly smooth transition. We saw about a 7x 8x. We were running around 1.5 megasouls. We were up over 10 megasouls at one point. So I think a lot of people kind of gravitated toward Flux because it was one of the logical switches. And I think what you're seeing now in the mining space is maximum pain, and this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where projects that excel and develop technology and start to iterate their business cases, they start to shine, and the ones that don't, they fall by the wayside because we had a lot of defunct GPU miners on Ethereum. We know there was a lot of ASICs there as well, and where they
Yeah.
went, but and you see a lot of people just kind of testing out different projects and learning about different projects. I think it's the perfect time in mining to go back to basics. You mentioned it's kind of like the Wild West. It was the Wild
Yeah.
West, then people got comfortable again, right? They were mining
Yep.
Ethereum. Just point your rig, set it, and forget it. Very little due diligence or research on these projects. Now all of a sudden, these miners who had not had to do these things for a very long time, they're doing it and they're finding really good projects. They're finding projects like Flux and Caspa and Ergo and and Yaxa and all these different projects that are actually they're like solving a problem. And I think we have really a lot of work to do to showcase that we as a community, and I'm not just talking Flux, I'm talking
Yeah.
blockchain overall, can basically put our arms around the challenges that are out there for us and run with them. And the only way we're going to do that is to do it through community, and not community individualistic where my bags are the best bags. I'm talking about like blockchain community where we're offering help to each other, we're learning, and we're getting back to like the whole reason we got into mining in the first place, right?
Yeah.
The monetary pool is always, it has to be there, but I didn't
Yeah.
set up my first mining rig to make money. I set it up because I had a curious mind. I believed in the technology because I did enough research and due diligence around it, and I started participating. And that got me to where I'm at today. And I think a lot of folks are, you hear people talking about shutting the rigs down and things like that.
Yeah.
This market is secular. So if you can mine at a loss and have a delayed ROI, it makes sense to do so. These opportunities. If you would have said, let's say a year ago, we're in the middle of a full out bull market.
Yeah. It's great.
Dan, can you slow everything down and go back? Right? I would have been like, yeah, I want to go back. I want to mine more. I want to run nodes. I want to find these awesome projects. So now is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was talking with DJ Mines more recently, and we were discussing the fact of like when him and I came into the scene, we were at that bull run. I mean, it was 2 years ago or so. You could come in and mine with pretty much anything, and it was profitable. But you're
Yep.
absolutely right. From a GPU miner's perspective, it was like, all right, I come in, I get my graphics cards rigs, and I put them on Ethereum. I have very little to look into on the project. And even your overclocks are just so fine tuned by now. It's like set it, forget it. You're making money. You're being profitable. It was easy. You were coming in at the easy time, and now I'm experiencing that flip side of things where it's like, okay, profitability isn't available. So now it's that time of looking into projects. And
Yep.
a lot of miners that have been around the block will say that have been through a few cycles, they have experienced this before and they're very attuned to it. A lot of them said, I'm powering down rigs for a month. I'll be back in a month. I want to see where things settle. I'm going to do farm maintenance. I'm going to look into projects. A lot of people I spoken with DJ Mine some more, and we were talking about finding these like one-off projects that are young, that are new, and some of them will fall by the wayside, which is normal. They'll come in,
Mhm.
they'll be available for a little while, then they're gone. Where others you'll get into, but the benefit is being able to yield. Right now, you just fill
Yep.
your bags because no one's mining these little things, and we as crypto YouTubers are like, don't talk about it until you've gotten enough in your bags where you feel comfortable, because all of a sudden hash rates is going to flip over to that. So no, it's a different time now, and I think
Yeah.
you're absolutely right with the point that you made, which was get in, and if you can mine with your electric rate and either pay your electric cost or you're willing to take on that additional expense for kind of you're gambling. I mean,
Yep.
at the end of the day, a lot of crypto mining, GPU mining is gambling. You're spending an expense forward, operating cost forward in hopes of it to pop off at some point down the road.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
The only thing I would add is I don't
Hmm.
necessarily think it's gambling. I think it's strategic planning. I
I
think
like it. I like it.
if you really get down to
Yeah.
brass tacks, miners are business owners, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
true.
they've invested time, material, resources, everything into this to build these rigs out. So,
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
if you're out there running a rig and you were just setting it and forgetting it, putting it on ETH and just
Mhm.
stacking sats, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You need to get out there and you need to research these projects. People finding projects like Flux. I mean, I can't tell you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that come into my DMs and is like, I had no idea. You know what I mean? I had no idea
Wow.
what you guys did, and I needed a place to go and I started researching you. The next thing I know, we're falling down the rabbit hole watching your YouTubes and everybody else's YouTubes and they're like this is amazing,
Yeah.
and it's right in front of us. But very specifically, all right, Flux fixes a problem. And that's the decentralized compute model, right? So if your project is not fixing a problem, okay, if it's a fork of a fork of a fork of a fork, and it's just carbon copying things for the speculatory nature of it all,
Yeah.
then then you are going to fail. I mean, you are. You have to find a project if you're that aligns well, and if it fixes a problem. You know, in technologies, the standard tech stack. You don't speculate, come out and say, well, I may or may not do these things, but I'm just going to copy what IBM did or Apple did or whatever.
Exactly.
You can't do that. You have to have something original. So, I say anybody out there listening to this right now and you're down in the dumps about mining, pick your chin up because this is the time. This is where legends are made, right? Like the meme. What did you do during the great
Yeah. Yeah.
hash rate decline, right? I mined
Yeah.
more. Effing
Yeah.
legend, right? So
Yeah,
it,
it's true.
it really is.
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right, and that is something that I think I've heard from you and many other people within the scene where, look into projects that serve utility because those are the ones that are going to be around for quite some time and they actually
Yes.
have value. And I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's really coming to light now. Ethereum kind of was always this curtain, and now that that curtain has been pulled back, it's like, all right, well, what projects are out there that serve utility, that serve
Yes.
purpose, that is worth investing in? Either it's your time or your hardware and such. So no, I totally agree with you. So one of the things I was excited to talk with Dan about in today's video was a blanket statement, and this is completely open-ended but I wanted to give GPU miners some insight into someone who's been in the scene for a while, is how do we save crypto mining? And some may argue, well, there's no saving that needs to be happened. But from your perspective, how do we flip crypto mining, or what should we look for? What indicators should we see on how to get crypto mining profitable again so that we're back and flourishing from a GPU miner's perspective? So I thought I'd throw it over to you to get some ideas and perspective.
Yeah, I think where we're sitting right now is a very unusual time. We haven't sat in a position like this where we've had the second largest crypto project leave the consensus mechanism, leave all the miners behind, basically refugees. We're looking for a place to go. A lot of them have found homes, but make no mistake about this, man. Like, this morning I wake up, the first thing I read is Jamie Dimon comes out and says Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme again. Why
Oh,
is that? E- Why is that? Is because Jamie Dimon has his handprints all over Ethereum. And if you're a consensus, do the research, you can figure it out. Mining will come under assault, right? The way that it stands today, mining will draw the ire of not only, the financial tech sector that wants to use Ethereum as their centralized solution for blockchain, but it's going to draw the ire of the president of the United States says, well, if proof of work uses such an energy footprint, then we need to ban it, right? So
yep. Yep.
We're getting it from every single side. So what we have to do is calmly and compose ourselves and come to the next version. When Satoshi Nakamoto sat down and thought about what Bitcoin would be, he understood there was a tipping point of compute resources. And he also understood that if you didn't agree necessarily with the direction of a project, create a new project, but you got to make sure that you're fixing something. So I feel personally the way to save mining is for proof of work communities to come together. We need to work together. We need to build together. We need to not be tribalistic. We need to not worry about whose bags are bigger or which project has more hash power or which project has a better team. We are all community members. We are all team members, right? So when we get that through our thick skulls and we start working together to the next iteration of what proof of work looks like, it's going to be fantastic. And I'll take away all the naysayers in the space who have sat there and said it doesn't do anything but transactional validation and consensus mechanism. It is a waste of energy. It is a waste of resources. Well, that's BS. And I'll tell you why. Because, we're already doing it with our node network, proof of use work. And
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, whether every single project is working on a different version or we're working on it together as a community, right? And maybe it's not for your project. Maybe you're a diehard. I would say there's a couple GPU mineable projects that will not look at consensus changes. They will not look at everything. I can tell you right now, the Flux community, they want to be the ones that are leading the way and helping others participate in leading the way for
Great.
the next iteration of proof of work. So take away the reason for them to complain about the platform, right? We remain decentralized. That's number one. Two, start to iterate toward the next version, right? You can't be static forever. Don't go the way of Netscape Navigator and you know what I mean? Like all these
Yeah.
AOL, too
Yep.
big to fail.
Yeah.
It was massive, right?
Look at it
Don't
now.
wait. Don't wait till Netflix, right? For Blockbuster to make the change, right? So today is the day that we need to start bringing those pieces together. I'll tell you that I've already talked to Caspa. I've already talked to Neoxa. I've already talked to Ergo. All of these communities are all stating the same thing. We know we need to get to the next place, and that's a big deal. So make sure you research that when you're looking at projects. What does your technology roadmap look like? Not little things. I want to see big lifts. I want to see
Yeah.
something that's going to take us to the next iteration of proof of work. So it should be
Yeah.
on
No,
there.
yeah, it's very true. Something that I've heard ring out with a lot of people that I've spoken to, especially miners, is the comment of what are they doing? So like as you're looking at projects and it's like, okay, what do I want to invest my miners time into, my rigs into, looking at these and it's like, oh, what projects are they doing? What do they have going on? And when you can't find anything, that's always the really hard one where it's like, oh, that one's really rough versus, just like you said, Flux, Ergo, Neoxa, all of those are we're seeing a lot of collaboration between your
Yep.
teams, but you're also kind of I feel like those projects are looking at the next level of proof of work and they're like, all right, how can we work together and kind of we're all moving in the same direction. And I think that's definitely a really good value. I think a lot of people, young and new to the scene right now, are looking at crypto mining and either one, they're just selling off rigs because they're like, oh, it's not profitable anymore, which, okay, worst time to really sell your hardware because everything is significantly low.
Yes.
But there's no timeline. It's not like this isn't something that has come and gone and you can add to it. And as I say to people, it's like if you want to try to base this off the last time we were in a crypto winter, or as I call it, a bear market of a bear market now. We thought we were in a bear market and now look at us.
Nah, bro, we just got. You're down 80%. Well, guess what? How about another 80%?
Exactly. And I think the thing is there isn't really that timeline there. The one thing we do have working for us, good, bad, and ugly, is that the word crypto and crypto mining and cryptocurrency is now more mainstream. The lack of education is there, and we see that among the political side of things, the electrical side of things, where these statements come out, and I see your and I's Twitter all the time when it's just like so and so's claiming this, and it's like really show me the proof, like or statements that come out from these groups and such. And so I think that's where the challenge is there is no timeline right now, but we're in a better place now than where we were a few years ago when this occurred. because as we said, crypto now has more utility now more than ever. But you kind of just have to buckle up and hold on, is what I tell people, because we really don't know how long this ride is. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Any last comments from you regarding the fact of perspective or ideas to provide to young GPU miners and crypto miners on methods to, quote, save crypto mining?
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if crypto mining is under assault, right, the people that are going to save it are the community members and the miners that support it. Okay. So
Yep.
us as team members can build as much technology, iterate to whatever it is. And if we don't have the input of the people in the community that we support, then we will always fail. We will fail. We need to have that input. Miners need to be involved in the projects. And that doesn't just mean set your rig on it and walk away. It means also,
Yeah.
how can I help out with the project? Help these projects. I mean, people come into our Discord all the time. Is like, what can we do to help? All right, well, make some memes or do this or do that or whatever. There's always ways to interact with these projects. It isn't like buying stock in GE and you get an earnings call once a quarter, right? This is like having your hand on the pulse of your business model, your community, your cryptocurrency, and the greater crypto current community, right? So I think in the end, it comes down to we need to drive change. And if miners are asking for the changes and saying, "What is your plan?" and they're not in a very respectful way challenging the team to produce something that solves a problem. If we can all work together to get to that point, I think we'll be in much better shape. So I would say this: I don't ever underestimate yourself with your one GPU. Your one GPU can make a difference. It can. Because that GPU comes connected to you, and you are the material that's going to push us, proof of work, into the next iteration. And we have a very small window. Ethereum has moved over to proof of stake, 99.9% environmental reduction impact. Okay, it's gonna give us a little window. I would say no more than 6 months to really start to develop whatever the next version of proof of work looks like. I suggest proof of work projects look at ways to become carbon neutral, right? And they're whether that's clean energy or whether that's in our case we've done a couple different things. We've obviously with our proof of use work model that we're creating with working with University of Engineering in Geneva, Switzerland. We're looking at opportunities in everywhere for people to help solve these problems. So it's all of our problem at this point. So don't just think you're going to set your rig and forget about it. Now becomes a time where we have to hustle.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to leave things off on there. I loved some feedback down below from the community regarding some of the things that we talked about today, regarding some perspective, strategy, and kind of timeline. All of it's speculative. We really don't know where things will go from here. But I think Daniel Keller definitely hit the nail on the head there regarding a number of items. If you guys do want to follow him more or get more insight from him, I will leave his Twitter information directly down below. You can click on that, go over and follow him, which would be awesome. Once again, Daniel, thank you very much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. And for myself and Daniel, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
We'll see you. Thank you.
The GPU Hanger. Misfit Mining and the Meterbox Company have partnered up to bring back the GPU hangers better than ever. The iconic Misfit Mining GPU hanger is now going to be PVC injection molded, making them stronger and more heat resistant than ever before. This project will be 100% community funded and produced once our goal is met. As a thank you for all your support, we are running a massive giveaway for the entire month of September, giving away over $7,000 in prizes like the iPolo V1 Mini, Mini Classic Plus, G1 Mini, tons of meter boxes, GPU hangers, and limited edition NFTs. Check out the new GPU hanger and enter this amazing giveaway. No purchase is necessary. You may also purchase additional items for even better chances to win. The GPU hanger contest is worldwide, extending through September 30th. Winners will be publicly announced on October 5th.